Hello everybody, welcome back to ComedIan MTG. My name is Ian. So the other week I put out a poll just asking if people wanted a set review for Modern Horizons 2 or if other people wanted me to do other content, and I asked for suggestions down below. One of the most liked comments on that post was a comment asking me to do a review of the MLC so far, anything that stood out to me, kind of where we are as far as standings, and just analyzing what has already happened with the tournament so far. So let's break it down. So we just completed week 6 of the MLC. Now, the weeks are a bit off right now just due to the fact that week 1 was only a single pod playing the game for the first time. So week 2 is really where 95% of the players actually started the MLC. As of right now, Callahan just posted a picture with the playoff standings, so let's go check those out. I'm gonna try and not block as much information as possible here. But basically, if you look up on top here, the first 4 spots in each conference, in addition to a wild card spot, are the people who are going to be making the playoffs as of the current standing. So in the Eastern Conference right now, the top 4 spots are myself at 3-2, Squirrel Mob at 2-3, Rebel at 2-2-1, Pongo at 2-2, and Timmy T1000 at 2-2. If we look over to the Western Conference, LJ has been absolutely killing it. Currently, LJ is 4-0. We have Sage at 3-2. We have Hokey Rules at 2-2. And then we have Deke at 1-4. And IMOC is the wildcard slot right now at 1-3. So 10 players will be making the playoffs. If I remember correctly, the top 2 players go directly to the finals, if I'm not mistaken, which is why there's 10 spots, because then there's 2 pods on top of that. I can double check that. The magic of editing. Okay, yes, I did just double check, and the top player from each conference will go directly to the finals without going to the playoffs, so that's pretty interesting. And definitely a reason to fight for the top spot. I'm obviously in a decent position at the current moment, holding number 1, but there are still about, I believe, 5 games to go. So we're only at the halfway point, and anything can happen from here. One thing that I've noticed about the Eastern Conference in comparison to the Western Conference, there's much more of a balance of the win share. With the Western Conference, there's definitely a little bit more top heavy. We have 1-4-0, 1-3-2, 1-2-2, and then there's only 1 win split among several other people. Whereas in the Eastern Conference, there are many more players who have 2 wins to their name. You may also notice that as of right now, the number of games doesn't quite add up for some people. For example, I have played 5 games. If you go down to Sick Robot here, Sick Robot's played 6 games. Pongo and Timmy T have played 4. There is definitely some scheduling stuff that has happened with some of our players, and these players will play those games. It has just been a matter of we all are many, many different people with multivariate schedules, but everyone's responsible for reorganizing their own games, so everyone will get their own games by the time the playoffs come around. Obviously, it feels really good right now to be leading the conference. Last week, I played my Silas Kodama list, which is the list I was feeling the least confident on, and probably will be the only time I play that list, in the fact that it just doesn't cater to my play style, and I definitely would swap different cards now, knowing the list a little better than when I did when I drafted it. And I was definitely focusing on my other lists first, which I feel very, very confident with. I feel very confident with Paco, Mad Farm, and Yidris. So that being said, I think Silas and Kodama is my one and done, and I'm retiring that deck at the current moment. So still, in a format when you're supposed to average about 25% win rate, being 3-2 still feels really, really good, and I am hoping to continue the positive streak, and hopefully I can keep winning games, and I would love to be able to jump right to the finals of this tournament, so that'd be really cool. LJ obviously killing it. If anyone hasn't gotten a chance to watch any of the games with LJ in them, they are always really entertaining. LJ's a really funny guy who also happens to be really good at the game, so I've really enjoyed watching LJ play. I've watched every single game on the Mind Sculptors so far. There are a number of games on the Spell Seekers as well. I can leave links to the MLC schedule. There is a link tree basically where you can get everything you need to know about the MLC, and I'll include that in the show notes down below. Needless to say, I've watched almost every single game in this league so far, and I've really enjoyed the different content. I've really enjoyed watching my other players play. It's been a really fun time so far. So a part of that link tree is the conferences tab. So you will see the Western Conference here up on my screen right now. There's also the Eastern Conference, which is the one that I am in. And not only does it have every single player and what they're playing, it has their records right up here at the top, what team they represent, or content group they represent, but it also shows how they have done with the individual lists so far. So nothing, I think, stands out too wildly to me as far as the Eastern Conference goes. Everyone's just played some really solid Magic so far, and the Western Conference does have one thing that I find very interesting, which is Sage has already gone 2-0 with their Omnath Breach list, which was really awesome. It's a very cool list, and I know Sage has done a lot of work with 4-color Omnath as an archetype. Now, Sage's variant of Omnath, I know they were saying is a little bit different than the actual ADB version, but still being able to put up 2-0 with that list is really strong. There is an error on this part where it says that LJ went 0-1 with Belby, but actually is obviously 4-0, so 1 with Belby as well. Yeah, LJ's been killing the game, which is really cool to see. As I said, LJ's a very entertaining player and someone I really like watching, so to see him do so well on top of that is really cool. But yeah, if you have any questions about any of the decks or any of the lists that any of the players are playing or how they've been doing, just check out the conference's Google Doc. And how you get there, there is this link tree that I was mentioning earlier, so you can have access to the season schedule every time any player is playing. So if you want to know who's going to be on what channel, where they'll be, all of that will be here. Usually when the week gets figured out, Callahan will put where they are playing in this tab here. So if you want to know, oh, okay, I didn't see Sage's game last week. Oh, okay, it's because they were on mental misplay, right? That's one way that you can be able to know where everyone's playing it at every time. And it has it for every week that we've had so far. If you noticed a bunch of the players are highlighted, that means who won during that week. And yeah, the schedule is obviously pretty intuitive apart from that. And then you get to see who's playing and what turn order they're playing in for the next weeks. So yeah, we have everything up to week 11 and 12. And if you have any questions about the rules of the tournament, things like I was confused about the finals pod earlier, you can check that out in this bottom tab right here. This link tree is super helpful and I'm accessing it at least once a day. So one thing you may notice on this tab is that we actually have a change of players. If you notice right here, we have cEDH Brazil's Killstars joining us. That news is sort of bittersweet. The obviously awesome part about that is that Killstars is a fantastic player and someone I really enjoy playing with in the cEDH community, and someone who's always like really challenging to play against just because of how strong of a player they are. The unfortunate part about that means that someone had to leave the league, and that was Braden, my old co-host from the cEDH cast. Braden formally announced this week that he is retiring from cEDH and content creation as a whole. So the cEDH cast will no longer be making content, and which is definitely a bummer. Braden and I obviously stopped working together on very amicable terms. We're still friends. Definitely a personal sad moment to see the cEDH cast officially be retired. But the positive out of this is that we get Killstars, who is a fantastic player. You'll also notice that Killstars' record is 0-1-1. Braden had to reschedule a couple games beforehand, so Killstars definitely has some magic to play in the meantime. But I'm very happy to have Killstars in this league. Someone who I always respect at the table, very strong player, and I'm excited to see him around. So that's where the league is so far. Personally, I'm 1-0 with Mad Farm, I'm 1-0 with Paco and Halden, I'm 1-1 with Yidris, and 0-1 with Silas Kodama. I'm feeling pretty good about the league so far. Playing Mad Farm again is going to make me really happy. This week I actually do have a bye week, so I will not be playing, which worked out pretty well as far as life events and stuff like that. But I will be back slinging games in the MLC as of week 8. Okay, matches to definitely check out this week. LJ is playing once again after the bye last week. You might want to check that match out. You get to see the first match by Killstars this Sunday. As far as competition in my conference personally, I know Squirrel Mob's playing Saturday at 6 and Timmy is playing on Sunday, and a win from either of them could really shake up my conference, so I'm probably going to be watching those matchups pretty closely. And that is our MLC update for the time being. What do you guys think about this update? I know this was pretty requested, so I hope people really enjoy this. I can actually start doing these more often if it would make people happy. Just leave a comment down below if this is something that you guys would be interested in seeing more often, and I'm happy to keep making them. I could definitely also hone down and be a little more focused on my decision making for that week, anything I think that was worth noting from the week specifically. Obviously, I'm covering 6 weeks in this one video here, so I'm not going to have as many of these smaller moments in mind. But yeah, tell me if you guys enjoyed this review of the MLC so far, and I'm happy to make more. While you're here on YouTube, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, smash that little bell, because that bell tells you every time we release new videos. And if you're feeling super generous and you want to support the channel and you want to support this content, go over and check out patreon.com/ComedIanMTG. You can get fantastic perks like having access to a secret Discord channel only for patrons, having your name in the notes after the show, and many, many more. So thank you very much, and have an amazing week. Peace.